Hello class, Rex Rowan here, graduate student at Piedmont University. Today I'm going over my poster for my research proposal, um, which focused on peer support groups for students with emotional behavioral disorders to increase social interactions. So going over to look at my abstract table, uh, which was created for my literature review. Um, all four of the articles that I reviewed were in the high school setting and in the general education setting. However, the focus was it was still peer support groups, but it was to increase social interactions for students with autism spectrum disorder. Uh, and all four, so there was multi-baseline designs, multi-probe design. So so those are the designs that were used in that. Um, and then as far as the setting, it was general education setting. You had a math class, um, and then one of the examples was in a lunchroom. So all of it was in the general education setting, not the same exact setting, but it was still general education. And in each of the studies, there was moderate to substantial increase in appropriate social interaction. Um, so this led me to my research question, which I've already kind of hinted at, and it's basically would peer supports help increase positive and appropriate social interactions for students with emotional behavioral disorders? As far as methods, uh, the primary dependent variable was social interactions. Was appropriate social interactions within a general education setting. I used partial interval recording method to document appropriate social interactions, and they were measured in 30-second increments. I grabbed this. I have a good memory of what these charts look like, and you can make this on Word, or there's plenty of places online to grab one. As far as design, I used the multi-baseline across participants design. I like this because the excuse me, the staggered baseline is good because it helps fight off internal validity, because there is replication of the data for 3 individual students happening non-concurrently. So that and so that was a big reason I chose that design, or I will be choosing this design for my single case research. So during the baseline period, which is in our methods section, there will be no procedures. There will be no new procedures implemented. The peer support partners are already in these rooms with these students, but they're not required to have social interactions with the students. We're just observing how they are in the setting at the current time. But during intervention, peer support groups they'll be oriented on strategies beforehand, and then throughout the entire intervention process. Information about the participants will be given to them, and what the goals of the study are overall. And then once again, the researchers are going to be made available during all times during the intervention. As far as IOA, which is Inter-Observer Agreement, it'll be determined for 40% of the sessions across each of the participants. Allowable IOA needs to be at least 80%. If we fall below 80%, then the operational definition of the behavior will need to be looked at, and possibly further training for observers will be conducted. And then as far as social, and then I also have a small questionnaire to help with social validity. That's going to be targeted for the students themselves and the teachers in the room. Some of the, for the students, basically, how did, did they enjoy the process? Are they, sorry, I apologize. Yeah, so did they enjoy the process? Are the peer support groups beneficial? Things like that. And then for the teachers, similar questions, but then we also want to know, do they feel comfortable with implementing these interventions once we leave? And then, so as far as hypothesized results, first of all, I have a participant table up here. It's really brief. All three participants, their grades, which are high school, and their diagnosis. So my hypothesized results will have a stable baseline trend, which you see here, right? Fairly low percentage of appropriate social interaction, and then you have your staggered baseline. Once the interventions are implemented, I anticipate that we'll see increased interactions, and then which will and it'll become a therapeutic, excuse me, a therapeutic trend. Sorry. Now, right, as far as the interventions go, right, we anticipate they'll be effective. One possible variable is, or one question for concern for us is, if they are successful, we won't know if these positive peer relationships will continue past the observation period. Other questions for future implications is if the peer group interactions are effective in increasing appropriate socialization in students with EBD, then would a similar intervention have a positive impact? Sorry. Would it have a positive impact on academic performance? So that's the overall gist of my presentation. I have my references here for all four of the single case research studies, plus our textbook by O'Neill. Thank you for taking the time to listen. I hope everyone has a great holiday.